All right, I'm back again. Let's do section 3, IELTS Listening Test. We have 10 more questions to do. Let's see if we can keep getting a perfect score. Okay, I'll show you step by step how to do this. My name is Brett and I am an American IELTS expert and teacher. Let's begin, guys. So here we have section 3, questions 21 through 30. What do we do first during this time before the audio begins? Well, first, you want to read the title, right? Read the title, Course Feedback. So this is about giving responses, giving results, feedback for some course, probably university or some school course. Okay, so our mind is set right. Next, we want to understand the instructions. Well, pretty simple here. Choose the correct letter A, B, or C. Thank you. We could obviously understand that, so that's finished. But third, what do we do? Well, I like to do underlining for keywords. But remember, we have another part of instructions, but I will play it in a minute. The other part of the instructions are the audio instructions. And look here, we have questions 21 through 30. At least 21 through 27 are all grouped together. Let's see if 28 through 30 are grouped together as well. So all 10 questions. So the thing is, do we believe that all 10 questions will be in the same audio, or do you think it will be split? We don't know. We have to listen for that information. So we'll do that. But before, because I'm teaching, I will do the keywords with you. 21. One reason why Spiros felt happy about his marketing presentation was, it's a reason, it's about Spiros, and he felt happy. Why did he feel happy? And I won't read these answers. There's simply not enough time. They will give you 30 seconds approximately to read the questions. So I'll read these very quickly, do some quick underlining of the keywords, prepare my mind for the questions, and then go to the next ones. By the way, if you run out of time reading the questions before it begins, do not stress, do not worry, because you are still reading these as you are listening. So do your best, don't be in a rush, but read them quickly to understand. So I read 21, underlined it. Now I go to 22. What surprised Hiroko? Surprised Hiroko. This was about happy. This is about surprised Hiroko about the other students' presentations. Not his or her presentation, but the other students. 23. After she gave her presentation, Hiroko felt, this is about Hiroko. So we have two speakers, Spiros and Hiroko. After, how did she feel? And look, simple adjectives for feelings. 24, how does Spiros feel about his performance in tutorials and Spiros? 25, why can the other students participate so easily in discussions? Why other students participate easily? Why? All right. 26. Why is Hiroko feeling more positive about tutorials now? Now, more positive. Why? 27. To help her understand lectures, Hiroko understand lectures. Now, I didn't listen to know which questions this audio will be about. Maybe about all 10, maybe about 3, 7, 5, 4. So right now, with you, I'm just doing all the underlines. 28, what does Spiros think of his reading skills? Spiros. What is Hiroko's subject area? 30, Hiroko thinks that in the reading classes the students should. Hiroko thinks reading classes should. What should they do? Now we are ready. But what do we do? What about all these answers? So these underlining keywords help me as I'm listening. But as I'm listening to each one, I'm reading these answers. So I'm reading these answers during the audio. I'm reading the questions before the audio if I have enough time. This is how I like to do it, and it works pretty well. All right, let's try it. Oh, and don't forget using elimination. Many times you will hear an answer that tells you, B is not correct. Mark it off. Don't mark it off in your head. Mark it off on paper. It will help you. Let's begin.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Before we start, Spiros and Hiroko, thanks for coming in today to talk about your recent study experiences, and congratulations to you both in doing so well in your first semester exams.
Thank you.
I'd like to discuss with you the value of the English for Academic Purposes course you did here last year before starting your university course. Spiros, if I could start with you, what parts of the program have now proved to be particularly valuable to you?
I think that having to do a seminar presentation really helped me. For example, a couple of weeks ago in our marketing subject, when it was my turn to give a presentation, I felt quite confident. Of course, I was still nervous, but because I had done one before, I knew what to expect. Also, I know I was well prepared, and I had practiced my timing. In fact, I think that in relation to some of the other people in my group, I did quite a good job, because my overall style was quite professional. What about you, Hiroko?
That's interesting. In my group, I was really surprised by the way the students did their presentations. They just read their notes aloud. Can you believe that? They didn't worry about their presentation style or keeping eye contact with their audience. And I remembered that these things were really stressed to us in the course here.
So, how did you approach your presentation, Hiroko?
Well, to speak frankly, I read my notes too. At the time, it was a relief to do it this way, but actually when I had finished, I didn't feel any real sense of satisfaction. I didn't feel positive about the experience at all.
That's a pity. You know, although I was pleased with my presentation, I am not so pleased with my actual performance right now in the tutorials. During the whole semester, I've not said anything in our tutorial discussions. Not a word.
Really, Spiros? Why's that? Do the other students talk too much?
It's partly that, but it's mostly because I have had no confidence to speak out. Their style of speaking is so different. It's not the style we were used to during the course. They use so many colloquialisms. They're not very polite, and sometimes there seems to be no order in their discussion. Also, they are very familiar with each other, so because they know each other's habits, they can let each other into the discussion.
You're right, Spiros. I have experienced that too.
All right, so I think we did well. I'm trying to write notes to tell you what I heard after that. 21, he said that at first he said he was confident, but then he said, of course I was still nervous. So obviously it's not A. So I eliminated that, and then I had a 50% chance. And he said, this was a trick here. He talked about he felt like in comparison with other students, he did quite well, but that doesn't mean he did the best. So it's kind of like a not given answer in the reading. So it's not C, but he said his style was professional and he was happy. So the answer was B. 22, what surprised Hiroko? She did talk about how, they just read from their notes. So our minds are thinking, it was boring, because it's boring when you read from the notes. But that is your assumption. What she did say was, she was surprised they didn't keep eye contact because that was stressed in the class. She didn't say her surprise, though. I can't remember what she used. The answer was C there. 23. She said she didn't feel satisfaction or she felt dissatisfied. Same meaning, different type of the word, same family of words. 24. Spiros, in his tutorials, he said he wasn't very happy. I can't remember exactly what he said, to be honest. 25. Why can the other students participate so easily? I eliminated both of those, which shows me my answer even before I heard the answer. That's how powerful this is. So he said they were a little bit rude to each other. They weren't polite. And he said it was kind of chaos. There wasn't any order. I think I made that up. He didn't say chaos, but he said there wasn't order, if I remember right, which means they didn't take turns. Taking turns means order. So that was wrong. And he said they are familiar with each other, which means they know each other well. 25 was C. All right, you ready for the next 5 questions? Let's do it.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
For most of this semester, I've said absolutely nothing in tutorials. But recently, I've been trying to speak up more, and I just jump in. And I've noticed an interesting thing. I've noticed that if they thought my point was interesting or new, then the next time they actually asked for my opinion. And then it was much easier for me to be part of the discussion.
Oh, that's great, Hiroko. I hope that happens for me next semester. I'll have to work hard to find some interesting points. What helped you to find these ideas?
I think that one thing that helped me with this was the reading. I've had to do so much reading this semester just to help me make sense of the lectures. At first, I couldn't understand what the lectures were talking about, so I had to turn to the books and journals. Every night I read for hours, using the lists of references that were given, and I made pages of notes. At breakfast, I read and read my notes again. This habit has helped me to follow the ideas in the lectures, and it's also given me some ideas to use in the tutorials.
But I did so much reading anyway. I don't think there's any time left over for anything extra. My reading speed is still quite slow, though I'm much better at dealing with vocabulary than I used to be.
What else do you think we could add to the course program to help with this reading problem?
There's not really anything because it's my problem. I remember we were given long articles to read. We didn't like that, but now I realize that reading those long articles was good preparation for the things I need to read now. Also, in class, we regularly had speed reading tasks to do, and we kept a record of our reading speed, so the teachers were encouraging us to work on that.
That's true, Spiros, but what we read could have been different. Sometimes in the English class, I felt frustrated when I had to read articles about the environment or health or education, because I wanted to concentrate on my own field, but we didn't read anything about engineering. So I think I wasted some time learning vocabulary I didn't need.
But surely the strategies you were taught for dealing with that vocabulary were helpful?
Yes, but psychologically speaking, I would have felt much better working on reading from my own field. What do you think, Spiros?
Oh, I agree. That would have helped my confidence too, and I would have been more motivated. It was good, though, that we could work on our own topics when we wrote the research assignments.
Okay, let's move on to writing now.
All right,
That's
so
the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
all right, so what do you think about those answers? It's getting harder, isn't it? Those were a little bit tricky, but elimination helps. Underlining the keywords really helps, especially to focus on Spiros and Hiroko, because if I didn't do those, I might have taken Hiroko's answer and used it, but actually I needed Spiros's answer, for example. So that helps.
Now turn to section 4.
Sorry, let me stop it. Okay, And there were paraphrases, right? I tried to write these. So let's look. 26, why is Hiroko feeling more positive? So they tried to trick us. Number 8, she finds the other students' opinions more interesting. They did talk about opinions being interesting, but she was saying the other students find her opinion more interesting. So that's different than what A says. And she said she feels more positive because she jumps in now, which is an idiom for saying she contributes now. She talks instead of letting everyone else talk. So our answer was B. 27, Hiroko talked about reading and then gave the answer to us several times, then talked about reading again later, talked about books, journals. Those are reference materials. All right? 28, Spiros and his reading skills. Well, he talked about taking a speed reading class, but he didn't say that he reads faster. Actually, he said he is still slow at reading. So that is our answer B. And he said he became better at vocabulary, which means C is not right because he doesn't struggle. He's better now. 29, what is Hiroko's subject area? Well, she talked about all of these, right? She did. But we want to know what her subject area is. And she didn't say subject area. She said, I would like to study in my own field, which is engineering. And then 30 was pretty interesting because, again, the answer was about subject areas and the paraphrase of own field. So it was almost like they used the same phrases, same paraphrasing for 29 and 30. So it was also B, read more in their own subject areas. All right, so those are our answers for section 3. It's difficult, it is, but do it like this and you will have a very good chance. And then do this again and again and practice and you get better and better. And always improve your English. Do this a million different ways. Of course, if you want to improve your listening skills, what should you be doing? Yes, you should be listening to good English. Oh, and did you catch? The speakers had different accents. That is what they do in the listening test. English is an international language, so it is not only British, it is not only Canadian or American, it's even foreigner spoken English just like you. So they want you to be familiar with hearing different accents. Remember, accents are not bad. Mispronunciation is bad. That's a tip for IELTS speaking. So accents are good. Embrace your accent. Welcome your accent. Your accent is amazing. That's why you are who you are. It shows where you're from, and it's nothing wrong. It's something to be proud of. Okay, I'll stop, and I will see you on the next video. You're awesome.